President Trump is preparing his first State of the Union. But what is the State of the Union all about? We'll find out next on Healthy Republic. Hey everybody, I'm Katie, and welcome to Healthy Republic. In just 1 week, President Donald Trump will stand before a joint session of Congress to deliver his first State of the Union address. Unlike his usual routine, President Trump will be expected to provide more than the 280 characters to explain to the members of Congress and all the Americans watching the speech at home exactly what his administration has done in the past year and what it plans to do moving forward. But from where exactly does this come? As is the golden rule in American history, if you don't know, just guess the Constitution. Because if it's something that sounds like a good idea, more often than not, you'll be correct. Written into the Constitution of the United States of America, the founders put the necessity of the president to provide information to Congress.
He shall, from time to time, give to the Congress information of the State of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient.
Those are the exact words, but that's pretty vague. What does from time to time even mean? In present day, we are rather high maintenance about it. We expect the president to provide a public address every January in person to both houses of Congress. It is televised and live streamed online, and the media analyzes every detail of the speech. But it used to be a lot less complicated. Our first two presidents, George Washington and John Adams, gave speeches in person. However, Thomas Jefferson provided written updates. Essentially, he passed a note to Congress. TJ was a shy guy, and he didn't like speaking to mass crowds. But he had important things to say, as we learned through his writing of the Declaration of Independence. It was not until 1913, under President Woodrow Wilson, when presenting the address in person became the platform as a means to rally support for the president's agenda. After 112 years of just getting a written message, Congress was beside itself as the president chose to verbally give the message. And then technology took control of how the message was presented. In 1923, President Calvin Coolidge gave the first radio broadcast message. Then, President Harry Truman became the first to have a televised message in 1947. And when the internet services became capable in 2002, President George W. Bush became the first president to have a live webcast of his report. There are a lot of really fun facts about the State of the Union. For instance, did you know that President Jimmy Carter gave the longest written message at 33,667 words? That's a tad longer than Shakespeare's Hamlet. Luckily for the country, the message did not end in the same manner as Hamlet does. And if you haven't read Hamlet, you should go do that right now. Also to note, members of Congress will be camped out all day waiting in line to get an aisle seat so they can shake the president's hand when he comes into the chambers. I imagine it looking something like this. All right, maybe not quite like that. But look for Representative Eliot Engel to be the first in line. His goal is to get TV airtime shaking hands with the president as he walks in. And he's been quite successful. He's been what they call an aisle hog for nearly 3 decades, managing to get a handshake and a smile from the sitting president for every address. So what else? All right, before the speech begins, the president must first enter the chambers, and it's the job of the sergeant at arms to announce the president with 8 specific words.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
It will literally be a full house, as hundreds of representatives and senators pack the House of Representatives. Also in the audience will be VIP guests who will sit in the balcony with the First Lady, the justices of the Supreme Court, and the president's cabinet secretaries. But notably, there will be 1 cabinet secretary absent. Records show that dating back to at least 1984, there has been 1 designated survivor, tasked with being anywhere but in the House chambers during the speech. Yes, it is like this designated survivor.
Mike, please, just tell us what you know.
Capitol's been attacked. Congress, cabinet. Eagle is gone. Sir, you are now the President of the United States.
Okay, no, it will not actually be Kiefer Sutherland. But, like in the TV show, in the event of a disaster striking the Capitol, a member of the executive branch will survive to run the country. Also noteworthy for those watching the speech will be the responses to the substance of the president's address. If you're looking for a special job, try to get hired at a news network so every year you can be the one in charge of counting the number of times various congressional members applaud during the speech, for how long they applaud, and how many times they stand up to applaud. President Bill Clinton currently has the record with 128 applause interruptions. But you may notice what appears to be a cold shoulder coming from the justices of the Supreme Court. Other than when the president arrives and leaves the chambers, the justices are to remain nonpartisan. They make a concerted effort to show neutrality on issues which may appear before the court. Now, during the speech, they may look puzzled, they may even take a snooze, but they are not supposed to applaud any policy discussion. You may find yourself looking like some of these justices during the speech, but I cannot urge you enough to watch the State of the Union address. We live in a time when we rely on what the mainstream media tells us, or more so, what our Facebook and our Twitter peeps provide us. But that is where so many of our issues and understanding hit a wall. We hear second and third hand what the story kind of, sort of, maybe once had been. Do yourself a favor and watch this year's State of the Union. Hear from the president what he says about the economy, about healthcare, immigration, and foreign affairs. Then research on your own as to whether he is fulfilling his constitutional obligation by giving Congress accurate information of the State of the Union and recommending for their consideration measures that are necessary and expedient. And when it's all over, let me know what you think. Until then, stay healthy, America. Hey everybody, if you liked that video, make sure to head over to FreedomProject.com where there'll be plenty of more videos with me and my Argyle.